Although George W. Bush rarely criticizes President Obama ever since he left the presidency, on Saturday, in a closed-door fundraising event, he showed a rare willingness to slam the president, assuming that there is relative privacy. But there were leaks, and we know some of the attacks that he launched against Obama's foreign policy. Bloomberg's Josh Rogan reported that Bush said Obama had caused the U.S. to retreat around the world, and that Obama had charted the wrong course in his nuclear negotiations with Iran. He also said Obama was misreading Iran's intentions while relaxing sanctions on Tehran too easily. They have not actually relaxed the sanctions. I don't know what he's talking about there. Bush said that Obama's plan to lift sanctions on Iran with a promise that they could snap back in place at any time was not plausible. I don't understand why it's not plausible. He also said that the deal would be bad for American national security in the long term. He said, "You think the Middle East is chaotic now? Imagine what it looks like for our grandchildren. That's how Americans should view the deal." I do imagine it's going to be pretty bad for our grandchildren. I'm not sure what percentage of that is Barack Obama's fault. And to hear Bush say that, as if he had just been like working at a Dairy Queen over the past decade and a half, that he wasn't involved in it. Maybe we always say that Cheney had the reins of power. Maybe Bush didn't even know all that stuff that was going on in the Middle East. He was busy
again,
playing with his
you know,
Xbox.
taking advice from George Bush on foreign policy is like, you know, you're going to take captain lessons from the Titanic's captain. I mean, you know, it's like you're the worst guy in the world, obviously. And, you know, George Bush just can't understand why Barack Obama would make peace with the right country when he could make war with the wrong one.
Mm-hmm. I love that still frame there. That is a classic there. Turn that into a meme, people. A little bit more out of Bush. Several attendees sensed a tacit critique of Mr. Obama and his failure to follow through on his threats to use force when Mr. Bush said, "You gotta mean it when talking tough," and that America's allies and enemies needed to know where an American leader stood. What the fuck does that even mean? His failure to follow through on the threat of force? What countries have we not bombed during Barack Obama's presidency? We're bombing countries right now, literally spending billions of dollars launching airstrikes against Syria, bombing people in Yemen and Oman from time to time, Pakistan, Iraq for fighting ISIS there. We just resent thousands of troops there. Formerly, we've been deployed throughout North Africa and other parts of Africa. What the fuck have we not bombed during this time?
So you're saying no matter what the amount of bombing, no matter how muscular a Democrat's foreign policy is, they're still going to attack them for not being weak on defense?
I think that's what it is.
You're kidding.
I think that's
no matter what
is.
Barack Obama does, they're always going to say the Democrats weak on defense and spends more money, even though the deficit has been reduced faster than any presidency. So no matter what, facts, it's just, they just keep saying that. But the thing that pisses me off about it, John, is that the Democrats then react to it. So Barack Obama goes out of his way to look muscular on foreign policy. So does Hillary Clinton, to the point where they are war hawks. Let's remember, this latest round of bombing in Syria and Iraq is being brought to us by Nobel Peace Prize winner Barack Obama for people who enjoy irony with their bombing.
Exactly. They want the combo.
Yes.
Yes. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. And so they do, and then get damned anyway, while making the situation worse in many countries.
You know, I would want Barack Obama. We just did a segment about he did an anger thing at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. He had his anger, his alter ego. Came out and was angry for him. I would like to be behind Barack Obama screaming at him. Yes. No, single payer, you dumb fuck! What are you doing? They're going to hate you anyway. Quit trying to work with them.
That would work.
Yes.
I would pay for that.
They hate you no matter what you do. Stop it.
Probably not going to happen, unfortunately, but he could use it. And so, like, to hear Bush saying all this bullshit, I mean, and look, really fast, historically, Bush has said, I don't think it's good for the country to have a former president undermine a current president. I think it's bad for the presidency, for that matter. So he's not doing that. But I think he's wrong there. If you're the former president, you should still care enough about the presidency to be willing to criticize the president after you leave office. I understand there's some decorum and tradition and all that, but no, you should be willing to criticize him, but not in a ridiculous sense that makes you look like a jackass because of what you did to this country in sending us to war. I mean, granted, look, I know that Barack Obama hasn't sent as many troops abroad. He hasn't spent as many billions or past $1 trillion on war, but I'm pretty sure he's actually gotten us involved in wars in more countries at the very least. They both, there's a lot of criticism you can levy against both of them, but Bush is not the person to do it. I don't know that we're ever going to have in our lifetime a president who fucks up foreign policy more, not just in the short term, not just in terms of thousands of American lives lost, hundreds of thousands of foreigners' lives lost, not just in the more than $1 trillion spent on war, but then forcing us into a situation where the next 1, 2, 3, 4 presidents afterward need to spend their entire terms cleaning up that mess, the intractable mess that we can't get out of. The fact that they've ruined these countries, they've shattered these countries, and they're now broken for decades later on. Bush should lock himself in a room and spend time just eating and watching Netflix. That's what he's qualified to do there. He's not now. He's not qualified to critique any other president's foreign policy. He lost that right when he sent thousands of American soldiers to die.
For a lie.
On a total lie.
On a total lie.